Hey everyone, Wydek welcoming you to Game 1 of a Best of 9. Yes, you heard me correctly, a Best of 9 series from the 2013 Acer Teamstory Cup. And here in the grand final, on Polar Night, we've got spawning at the 12 o'clock position as the Blue Terran representing Team Acer. We have Innovation. His opponent is spawning at the 6 o'clock position as the Red Zerg. Representing Team Axiom, we have Impact. And this is an all-man sort of series, so if you do win, you can keep playing. So it is very interesting because generally, I mean, a lot of these series are best of 3s, best of 5s, between the best players in the world. But in this setup, it's still the same as best players in the world, except this time, if you win, you keep playing. So it is very, very special because you can get that very, very exclusive all kill where you're able to kill all of your opponents. Now, Innovation will have to win 5 in a row to get that. Impact will have to win 5 in a row to get that. So all kills are very rare, but they are very special whenever they occur because, well, obviously you're one of the best players in the world playing against some of the other best players in the world. So to win 5 games in a row is very difficult, to say the least. But let's get Game 1 over and done with first. And it looks like Innovation is going to open up with the 14cc on the low ground. And from my perspective, this is a little bit strange because Impact sent that drone in early, and Polar Night is a 2-player map. So as a Terran player, you have to really decide, is it really worth it to put the command center on the low ground? You will gain a few extra minerals if and when the command center finishes, if it's done without any harassment. But is it really worth the risk? A lot of Terran players just opt to put the command center on the high ground here, finishing off the wall off, and then any Zerglings or drones won't be able to do any damage to that SCP. You just have to lift it over, and during that lifting time, you will lose some potential minerals, but it's a lot safer. Or Terran players will opt to put this 14cc on the low ground on 4-player maps like Whirlwind, where your opponent only has 1 out of 3 chances to scout it out very early. But this is Polar Night, and there's only 2 locations. So Impact was able to scout it out immediately. Now his hatchery is going to finish very quickly here, and so has his spawning pool. And I think once we see 100 gas, we're going to get Zergling speed come out from Impact. There's 100 gas now. I don't see the Zergling speed being upgraded as of yet, unless he's saving up that gas for... Nope, he is going for Zergling speed. So map control is going to be moved over to the Zergling side of the map. Now Innovation is getting a factory of his own, so we'll most likely see possibly double Hellion production if we do see a reactor. Yes, we are seeing the barracks move over. If the reactor goes up once there's 50 minerals, you can be well assured double Hellion production will be coming up online soon. There we are. There is the reactor. So, site confirmed. Now, what Impact can do is, because he knows Innovation went for that very early 14cc on the low ground, is that he's not going to be attacked anytime soon. So Impact can open up with a 3rd early hatchery, or you can go for something like a roach attack that could cripple Innovation, or a baneling attack. I don't see the 3rd hatchery as of yet, and I don't see any roaches or banelings. I don't see the buildings being constructed. So I'm not entirely sure what Impact is doing. Now, he is droning up. We have 9 more drones on the way. And Zergling speed is going to finish very quickly here. Now, it looks like the first 2 Hellions are going to be out and about very soon as well. But remember, even with the Hellions out, if Impact can get enough Zerglings, the Zerglings can surround Hellions quite well and destroy them, because Zerglings with Zergling speed are faster than Hellions. Especially on creep, they're much faster than Hellions. So the first 2 Hellions are going to be moving out of that natural area for Innovation, and it looks like that Zelnaga Tower is going to be claimed by the Terran player, but he's not going to be able to hunt down those 2 stray Zerglings. And it looks like the Hellions are looking for something to eat. There aren't going to be a lot of stray drones, or stray Zerglings around. But Innovation is going to be able to spot the timing of that third hatchery. So that is important to know that the opponent is not doing some weird 2-base Mutalisk Baneling all in. And now Innovation is going to be able to control both Cell Naga towers. So he's going to have full vision of basically 60% of what could happen of the map. Now the Hellions are looking for something to destroy, but there's not much there. It's just Queens and Creep Tumors. And with 2 Evolution Chambers here blocking the natural, the Hellions are going to have a tough time getting in there. But I think when Innovation gets a couple more Hellions, he might push forward. There we go. We got the magic number of 6. And the Hellions are now going to be on the creep. And like I said, those Zerglings are on the creep. They're very fast. So you do want to pull those Hellions back. So it looks like Innovation is going to withdraw for the time being. At the same time, we do have an Overlord being sent in to scout for Impact that is going to pop very quickly here. And at the same time, the Zerglings are running up the ramp, and the Hellions are going to be able to do a lot of damage. So quite a few lost Zerglings, 6 if you can count them all. So the Hellions getting free units, that's never a bad deal for the player killing the units. Always a bad deal for the receiving player. And the Zerglings might take another volley, losing 8 more Zerglings. So the Hellions are really doing a good job, able to catch those Zerglings just at the right time when they're coming up the ramp when they don't have the vision. 2 more drones are going to go down as well. There is a third. So these Hellions have actually done substantially well for just being Hellions. Generally, if the Zerg player is really, really diligent, you won't lose that many units. You might just lose a couple Creep Tumors. So Innovation, all the losses are mounting on Impact side of the map. So Innovation is clearly ahead at this point in the game. Now losing 625 minerals is not exactly game-breaking, but I mean it is substantial. You're losing about, what, 15 Zerglings? And my math is correct. My math may be horrible. Actually, it's a lot more than that. It's 18 Zerglings. If you're losing that many Zerglings, I mean, that's 18 less Zerglings you can use to surround the Hellions. So that's 9 more larvae that you're going to have to use to build Zerglings with. So it's not nothing, but it's also not too much. So Impact can still recover. But we do have a lot of active creep tumors by Impact, and I do like this play. Some Zerg players don't spread that much creep, but I really think spreading creep is a very essential part of the game as a Zerg player because you need map presence, map control, and it gives you vision and speed as well. And for the low cost of clicking, I think that's a pretty good deal. Now, we do have the Spire almost complete for Impact, as well as a macro hatchery. I'm kind of surprised that Impact is not opting for a 4th hatchery here. Because Innovation does have 3 bases now, and 3 of 3 bases, Terran players will win most of those matchups. Now, Innovation is going to be engaging on the creep. The scan does go down, able to destroy a lot of the creep tumors, and now it looks like the Zerglings are going to rush in here, able to catch some of the Marines, and actually able to cut up the army in half, it seems like, just a little bit. But Innovation is going to have to back off, it looks like. Now, we do have quite a few Marines relocating themselves at that natural, and with all those Zerglings taking 1 or 2 volleys from those Hellions, they are a little bit damaged. They do regenerate over time, but if Innovation tries to strike again very quickly, you might be able to take advantage of all these damaged Zerglings. Now both players are getting 2-2 on the way, and it looks like Innovation is going to go for another volley, able to focus down on these active creep tumors. The scan is money, able to take down 4 active creep tumors, but the Zerglings have been able to surround a lot of those Marines and Marauders, and the reinforcements are coming in here as well. Impact is trying to get us around, and now it looks like the Zerglings are charging forward. The Hellions are taking a beating, but they're still dealing significant damage to that incoming Zerg army. The Queens are now on that creep as well, trying to reinforce that position, trying to put down some creep tumors, but Impact is going to have to retreat. It looks like Innovation is going to be able to clean up a lot of those creep tumors, but it looks like all those Marines are in the red. The Zerglings only have to poke a couple times before they are destroyed, and now Innovation is going to have to pick up the rest of the remaining units and boost away to fight another day. So very, very exciting engagements. Unfortunately, Impact is still on the losing end of a lot of these engagements. He's been able to even things out a bit. And with that 4th base up and running very soon, Impact is really in this game. He hasn't lost yet. The supplies are fairly even, but generally Zerg supply is not as strong as Terran supply. But it looks like he might be able to catch this stray medevac. The medevac is dropping a lot of Marines. Should be able to clean this up. I'm not sure why the Zerglings disengaged from the attack. Now the Mulists are taking a lot of damage. And it looks like now Innovation is in the middle of the map and is going to try and attack at the same time. Impact's trying to find an opening at that natural, but it's sealed off. And now Impact is probably going to lose quite a few Zerglings and Banelings here. And it looks like only 1 or 2 Marines went down for Innovation. So that was a very good trade for our Terran player and a very poor one for Impact. And it looks like Impact is going to have to retreat back to his base and try to get some more reinforcements. Now, we do have 3-3 on the way for Innovation, and we don't have 2-2 started for Impact. In fact, he's still stuck on Lair Tech, so this is very bad. The Queens are going to be pulled off the creep as well. That's basically no man's land for Queens, or no woman's land because they are Queens. That's basically no woman's land, and with all those active creep tumors being cleaned up as well, Impact is going to lose a lot of tempo and a lot of control of the map. He's also going to lose that Overseer and an Overlord. Not sure why he just threw that Overseer into there. And now it looks like we got lots of Banelings, but we don't have any Overseers. Now, great connections from the Banelings, catching a lot of those Marines. The Mulists are going to come in to form a pincer attack. So great strategy from Impact. The Marines are going to just stim and run away. And now the Widow Mines are in position, able to pick apart some of these Overseers. The second Overseer is going to be destroyed as well. Innovation is retreating off that creep. And once you're off that creep, as a Zerg player, your units are much slower. So very good tactics by Innovation, just pulling Impact off that creep and not letting him get that speed advantage. It looks like we're going to get another engagement here. The Marines are firing up at those Mutalisks. We do have a lot of Widow Mines in position, doing a lot of splash damage. A lot of those Mutalisks took a lot of splash damage. They do regenerate quickly, but they're going to have to regenerate now. Now, the Marines are going to be stimming into this third base of Impacts. A lot of Marines, they're basically at full life. The Overseers are trying to morph, but the Banelings are able to get a couple of great connections, but there's still Widow Mines here. So the Overseers are not going to be able to do too much if they're destroyed. Another Overseer is destroyed, and that hatchery is still under attack. And those Widow Mines are just doing so much damage. They're getting so many free hits because there are no Overseers. And every time there is an Overseer, it's quickly taken care of. So Impact still has so many Widow Mines around his area, and they are recharging over time. And this is very bad news for Impact. Now, we are going to get engagement closer to Innovation side of the map. The Zerglings are going to be able to surround this small lot of Marines and pick them apart with the assistance of those Mutalisks. It looks like, once again, the Widow Mines are taking their revenge. The Zerglings are not able to detect them. The Mutalisks are just flying over all these Widow Mines. Finally, there's a couple Overseers here, and it looks like Impact will be finally able to clean up that minefield. But Innovation's in a pretty good... Well, he's not in a great position. In fact, he's actually down in supply. And the fact that Impact has that fourth base, this is still anyone's game. But you have to remember that Impact is stuck on producing so many units, he can't actually upgrade to Hive Tech, so the upgrade advantage is basically just conceded to Innovation. Now, the Mutalisks are going to fly in here. It looks like we've got about 23, it says, flying into the main base, focusing down on that orbital command. A lot of those SCVs have been pulled off the line. Mutalisks are going to retreat, but now it looks like Innovation is going to claim revenge, going for a counterattack at that third base of Impact. Those Marines are going to stem in there first with the assistance of a few damaged medevacs. And it looks like this will get cleaned up. We have too many Mutalisks here. The Marines are going to have to retreat. But you do have to remember that there isn't that much creep spread. Innovation has been able to control the creep spread quite significantly. And it looks like he's going to be able to put down another great scan, able to clean up a lot of those active creep tumors. And Impact's creep spread is very, very minimized, very close to his 4 hatcheries. So Innovation doing a great job controlling the map. And now the Marines are going to be able to do a lot of damage to these Mutalisks. A lot of the Marines did go down from those Baneling connections, but Impact is going to have to retreat once again. More scans are going down, trying to see if there's any more creep spread. But no, it looks like Innovation has just done too much. And with his 3-3 Marines against the 2-2 Banelings, the Marines are just very, very strong. Supplies are fairly even. In fact, we're actually seeing a 5th base from Impact. And we're seeing a 4th from Innovation over to the east. But Innovation, even though it's very even, all the action's happening on Impact side of the map. So this is very bad. The Banelings are able to get great connections on those Marines, but the supplies are precipitously dropping for both players. Now we only have Mutalisks, and Impact's going to have to tap out. So wow, what a great last flurry of attacks in the last minute or so. Innovation just was constantly taking it to Impact, not giving him much room to breathe or much room to move. And even though he did have one more base over his Terran opponent, he wasn't really able to maximize it. And I do see this happen quite often where Zerg players kind of are stuck on Lair Tech. They want to try and cripple the Terran player, and so they're stuck on 2-2 upgrades. But once those Marines get 3-3 upgrades, and you're just playing the entire game one upgrade down, it's very difficult to win. And in my recollection, the 4 or 5 games I've seen where this has occurred, the Zerg has never won, as far as I can remember. So it's kind of difficult, because if you try to use those resources to upgrade to Hive, you might just lose the game, because, I mean, those resources can be used for units you need right now to deal with the oncoming horde of Marines. But if you stay on it too long, then your upgrades suck, and then you can't deal with the next wave of Marines. So it's a very difficult position to be in. But great game by both players. Innovation is going to take it. So Team Acer is going to be up 1-0 in this best of 9. We'll have to see who Axiom is going to put into Game 2 to take on Innovation.